Assalamu alaikum and welcome to a brand new series here at Dust Diamonds called The Great Women of Islam. And the aim of this series is to get ourselves acquainted with magnificent women in our history that the spotlight doesn't usually land on. And some of these names you will already know of, and some of these names are quite unknown to the masses. So the aim is not to give you a full biography of these women because that would be impossible, but to give you just enough information to spark a desire to go and research their life in full detail. And to also be proud to be part of such a rich history of such passionate, intelligent women of God, and to want to follow their footsteps by leaving the dunya having led a very productive and purposeful life. And those of you who know me will know why I chose to start with Sayyidah Nafisah. For the very first episode, she has a very special place in my heart. Whenever I get called for a talk up and down the country and they give me the option of speaking about a great woman of Islam, Sayyidah Nafisah is from amongst the very first that come to my mind. So Sayyidah Nafisah was born in the 9th century and she was the great-granddaughter of Imam al-Hassan, who was the brother of Imam Hussein, making him the son of Sayyidah Fatima radiallahu anha and Imam Ali karamallahu wajh. And yes, you've guessed it right, she was Ahlul Bayt. So she was born in Mecca, raised in Medina, and her father was the governor of Medina at that time. So she would spend a lot of time in his presence whilst he would be fulfilling out his political duties. And inevitably, observing all of this made her very wise and very mature at a young age. She memorized the Quran and studied Islamic jurisprudence in depth, and then later started teaching Islamic sciences all while she was very young. She later got married to Ishaq, who was the son of Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, and had 2 children, Al-Qasim and Kulthum. And then a pivotal point in her life occurred when she moved. She did hijrah from Medina to Egypt, and she lived and settled down around the outskirts of Cairo. Pause, note to self. Migration is a sunnah and has been done by many of the great men and women of Allah. Although moving to a new place can sometimes be scary because of the unknown, it can also be a life-changing experience with many great lessons to be learned. Seeing new places, meeting people from different walks of life, and experiencing life outside of your comfort zone can only make you stronger, wiser, braver, and happier. So the world is your oyster. Travel as much as you can before returning to your Lord. So where were we? All throughout her life, Sayyidah Nafisah would fast all day and stand up in worship all night. Even when she was old and weak, she never strayed from this practice. She was a very spiritual woman and very emotionally connected to her lineage, to the Prophet ﷺ, and also to her forefather, Sayyidina Ibrahim ﷺ. Her entire life is an example for us on how to live simply and how to make worship of God a priority. And because she was very spiritual and very much connected to her Lord, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave her special gifts that she could perform in order to help the people that would come to her. For the awliya Allah, we call these karamat. So for Sayyidah Nafisah, she was very well known for healing eye diseases. And on one occasion, the Nile wasn't flooding over to water the crops one year, and all the people were really worried that they wouldn't be able to harvest their food. So they went to Sayyidah Nafisah, who was clearly the pious woman in the community, and they went to her and they said, make dua and tell us what to do. So Sayyidah Nafisah took her veil, which she did her ibadah in, and she threw it into the Nile. And subhanAllah, so many people witnessed the Nile rise and water all of the crops, and they say there was so much food to harvest that year. Her wudu water, with the permission of Allah, would give shifa to even the paralyzed. And subhanAllah, we have hundreds of narrations where Sayyidah Nafisah helped the sick and the needy and the Egyptians in general, and she was their leader and their spiritual guide and the one that they all turned to. She really was a true princess of the people. And we're talking about an extremely intelligent woman here. She knew the Quran and all of the commentaries of the Quran off by heart, and she was so well versed in Islamic sciences that even her contemporary Imam Shafi'i, and we all know of the great Imam Shafi'i, he would come and listen to her lectures and engage in an intellectual discussion with her. And this is one of my favorite stories of Sayyidah Nafisah that reflects the mutual respect and love for the sake of Allah that Imam Shafi'i and Sayyidah Nafisah had for one another. So whenever Imam Shafi'i got ill, he would send a messenger to Sayyidah Nafisah asking her to make dua for him, and she would. And before the messenger would even return back to Imam Shafi'i, he would be cured. And subhanAllah, such is the power of the dua of a waliya Allah and the friends of Allah. And the last time that Imam Shafi'i got sick, he sent a messenger, and Sayyidah Nafisah sent a message back saying, tell Shafi'i that God has blessed him with the pleasure of seeing his noble face. And when Imam Shafi'i heard this, he realized that his time has come, and he started making his preparations for death. And one of the last requests that he made was that Sayyidah Nafisah was to read the janazah, the funeral prayer, over his body. So Lady Nafisah spent a very simple life. She ate once every 3 nights, and she would have a basket in front of her place of prayer. And whatever she would need, she would just find it in that basket. And when her niece, who used to live with her and serve her, Zainab, she asked her, Sayyidah Nafisah about it, Sayyidah Nafisah replied, "Oh Zainab, whoever sets things right with God, the entire universe is theirs." And as a finishing point, another reason why I find Sayyidah Nafisah so inspirational is because she dug her own grave with her own hands, and she would regularly go and sit and spend time and contemplate in her grave. And it said that she has finished 6,000 Qur'ans next to her own grave. And this amazing lady, in her last few hours, she was fasting, and she refused to break her fast because they were trying to make her break it because she was so weak. She refused to break her fast in hope that she meets her Lord in this state. And when she did pass away, her family wanted to take her body and bury her in Medina, but the people of Egypt had this huge plea, and they even gathered money to give to the family. They really didn't want to let go of her, and they said, please let her be buried in the grave that she dug for herself. You see, Sayyidah Nafisah was a beacon of knowledge and hope for the Egyptians. And even till today, Sayyidah Nafisah has a special place in the heart of the Egyptians, and they had so much love and respect for this woman, and it could be seen through some of the titles that they've given her. Nafisa al-Tahira, Nafisa al-Abida, Sahibat al-Karamat, Nafisat al-Misriyin. Subhanallah, a great woman to be remembered and to teach our daughters about. Allah give us all the opportunity to study the legacies of these great women and to implement their morals and their values and their way of life into our own lives. And may we get a glimpse, just a glimpse of women like Sayyidah Nafisah in the Akhirah. Ameen. And that's all for our first episode in the Women of Islam series. Please remember me and the Dust to Diamonds team in your du'as and be my witnesses on the day that I brought the message to you. And just in case any of you were wondering, this was the book where notes were taken from. I will leave a link for it in the description below. Yes, I definitely advise for everyone to invest in this book and just get ready to fall in love with your history. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. Assalamu alaikum.
la la la